Hey there, great to see you back on Tim Talks. Today we are talking mini keto pumpkin cheesecakes. Preheat your oven to 350 right now because you're going to want to do this recipe. This is a great recipe that is inspired by the great folks at Keto Connect. They have a wonderful website and a really great YouTube channel where you can learn all kinds of cool things from them. And so, hey guys, hope everything is going well. Love this recipe, which I've altered slightly for my own taste and for the kind of ingredients I have right here in the house. Let's get started. To make the crust of these cheesecakes, we're going to start off with a half a cup of coconut flour, as you can see I have here. You're also going to need some fat, 2.5 tablespoons of fat, in this case 2 tablespoons of softened butter, and a half a tablespoon of coconut oil. I'm using that because it intensifies the coconut flavor of the crust, and it's really very delicious. Next here I'm going to use as a sweetener here, and you can use any sweetener you like. This is a teaspoon and a half of sugar-free maple syrup. It has almost no carbs, really delicious. Again, use your favorite sweetener and sweeten it to taste. I'm also going to put in a pinch of salt. And notice here I'm not really bothering to use the standard method of mixing the dry ingredients with the wet. We're just going to mash them together until we have a pretty consistent crumb-like crust. This is going to sort of attempt to replicate the graham cracker crust that we find in most cheesecakes. You can see it's pretty much going to come together with the butter there. I'm going to continue to mash it together here for a moment. And when I've got it into a nice smooth paste that's ready to spread into the cups, we'll be right back. Okay, now that we've got everything incorporated in the crust, I'm going to show you how to put it into your muffin tins. Now, if you look down here, you'll see that I've got a standard muffin tin that I've lined with some silicone molds that I got on Amazon. I really love these. You don't really need them. You can grease the tin and just do this right there. I just like them like this. This makes it for a really neat little cupcake-like thing. I'm going to use about a tablespoon. This makes 12 servings. I'm going to use about a tablespoon of this crust mixture. And I'm going to put that in each of the silicone molds. And you don't need to watch me do every one of them, but actually what I do is I just push down the little crust mixture into the bottom with my tablespoon. And here, actually, you can also use your fingers, I think, with the star molds, which come out really cute. I did a test batch of these yesterday. There we go. Look at that. We just push it into our little mold. There we go. I'm going to fill the rest of these, and we'll be back when I've done that to put it in the oven. Okay, now we've got them smushed down in the bottom of the cups, that lovely crust mixture. We just got it so it forms a nice little solid layer in there. We're going to put this in a 350-degree oven for 12 to 15 minutes, and then we'll be back to start filling them up with our cheesecake. Now we're going to start the filling for these little mini cheesecakes. These are so great. Anyway, here what I've got in my bowl is 8 ounces of softened cream cheese. And I'm going to turn on the paddle attachment there. And into that, I'm going to mix 5 tablespoons of sugar-free maple syrup. Again, you could use whatever sweetener you like. Use erythritol, use stevia, you could use sugar if you're not on keto. Why not? We want to cream those together nicely, and so I'm going to turn that on pretty fast, and we're going to get that incorporated. And while we're waiting for that to happen, let's talk about some of the other ingredients that we're going to need to make this filling. Here we've got 1 large egg, and I've got also, you're going to need 6 tablespoons of some kind of cream. This is 4 tablespoons of heavy whipping cream, and 2 tablespoons of sour cream. Turn that off while I talk about that for the rest of it. Anyway, you're also going to need, for the pumpkin part of the filling, you're going to need 2 teaspoons of pumpkin pie spice, and this is about 1/3 of a cup, or 5 to 6 tablespoons of pumpkin puree. This is my own homegrown pumpkin puree, actually. You're also going to want about a teaspoon of freshly squeezed lemon juice and a teaspoon of vanilla extract, right? Okay, now we're ready to go on with this filling here. Let's add the other ingredients. Put on my noisy mixture. First of all, we've got here our 2 tablespoons of sour cream and 4 tablespoons of heavy whipping cream. Just going to add that right in. Get all of it that we can. I'm also going to add in the egg, which I'm going to, in a very daredevil move, just break right into the bowl. There we go. Shove that in there, thank heaven. Next, I'm going to add about a teaspoon of pure vanilla extract. I'm just going to eyeball it. There you go. And we also have our teaspoon of lemon juice, right? Freshly squeezed lemon juice goes right in there. That's going to give it a nice, really cheesecakey kind of a flavor. I'm going to turn the mixer up a little bit. And to make sure it's well incorporated, I'm also going to turn it off and give it a quick stir. You want to make sure, especially if you're using one of these big stand mixers, that you get the stuff off of the bottom and you make sure everything gets well incorporated. Scrape off my spatula a little bit. We're going to give it another whirl, and then I'm going to make the pumpkin filling. There we go. Round and round she goes. And there we have it. Now, one of the things that's so adorable about these cupcakes is that they're layered. There's just a cheesecake layer, and then there's another layer on top that is very much like pumpkin pie. And just absolutely lovely. Let's set this aside. Now I'm going to divide our filling. I'm going to use about half of it as a cheesecake base, and the other half, less than that. The other half I'm going to flavor with pumpkin and pumpkin pie spices. Here I've got my 5 or 6 tablespoons, I think this is 6 tablespoons of pureed pumpkin. You can of course buy this in grocery stores in a can, or you can make it at home like I did. Make it and grow it at home. Okay, I've got my 2 teaspoons of pumpkin pie spice. We're going to dump it right in there. And I'm just going to use my spatula to incorporate it fully rather than put the mixer back together. I don't really see the necessity of that. My oven is, oh no, those are the mini cupcakes with their crust in there. They're ready to pull out of the oven. Let's do that. Let's see how we did. Oh, they're adorable. They're a little browned, which is exactly what we want. And I'm going to set them out here to cool while I finish making the rest of the batter. And when we come back, I'll show you how we fill them and bake them. Well, let's get ready to fill our little cupcake cups here. Check it out. I've already started. And what I've started with is, of course, the white cheesecake base. It's really delicious. And I'm using about a tablespoon of filling for each one, more or less. Again, I'm not being terribly precise about it. Just like in all of my other recipes, I'm one of those kind of eyeball it cooks. And we want to use up all of our filling, of course. And I've got one more here, and I've got just about exactly enough for one more in the bowl. Get that out. Right there in the little star. Is that adorable or what? Great. Give my hands a little rinse and move on to the pumpkin filling, which we have right here. And again, it's going to be about a tablespoon per unit here. And I'm going to fill these. This is going to, again, this bakes up and it looks very much just like a pumpkin pie filling. Very, very nice. And if you're wondering, do the stars really turn out like stars? They really do. They really turn out just adorable. You'll see. Put a little bit more in there. And of course, see, you can work with it a little bit, spread it around to make sure you get it in every little nook and cranny. And I'm going to finish these up, and then I'm going to put them in a 300-degree oven for 55 to 60 minutes. and bake them until they're done. And I'll be back when I'm pulling them out of the oven. It's been 55 minutes now, and so we're going to pull them out of the oven. Let's have a look. Oh, are they adorable? You can see some of them have kind of split. As they cool, that'll change a little bit. I'm going to bring them out. See how beautiful and puffy they are. We'll set them over here on the stone part of the board. They're jiggly a little bit. It's all right. That's how they're supposed to be. Aren't they adorable? Now, what we're going to do is we're going to let these cool down, and then I'm going to put them in the refrigerator for about 2 to 4 hours to let them really firm up. And I'll be back to show you what that looks like when we're done. We'll unmold 1 or 2 of them to see what they look like. These are just great. We'll be right back with that in a couple of hours. It's been about 3 hours now, and so we're ready to have a look at these little guys. Here we've got a little star one that's ready to go. Here you can see I just peel back a little silicone mold, and it comes right out. And there we go. We'll do just one more to show. Here's one of the round ones, or a traditional shape. Again, I'm just going to pull that back and get it out of there. Is that adorable or what? All right, I smashed one of the little corners here, but that's all right. Still adorable. Really adorable. And let's just take a bite. You know what? That one that's just a little short, we'll get rid of that. So delicious and so cute. I really love these. You know, when you're on the keto diet, you can have a little treat once in a while. These you can have probably about 1 a day, actually. So good. I'm going to have this one, and I think maybe I'll have a cold brew with it. Anyway, thanks for joining us again on Tim Talks. We'll see you next time.